Have you ever paused to think about how something as ordinary as a morning shower could quietly turn into a life-threatening moment for an older adult? I know it sounds a little dramatic, but imagine this. It's 6:45 in the morning. The house is still, not a sound except the soft ticking of the kitchen clock. Robert, a 78-year-old retired teacher, gets up like he always does. He's up before sunrise, like clockwork. It's a habit he's had since his working days. He reaches the bathroom, still slightly groggy, still warming up to the day, same towel on the hook, same familiar tiles under his feet. But this morning, his body feels a bit slower. He hasn't eaten yet. He took his blood pressure medication just 20 minutes earlier. He feels a little dizzy, but he brushes it off. He steps into the shower anyway. Then it happens. One shift in pressure, 1 second of imbalance. His vision blurs. His knees buckle. There's no one there to catch him. This kind of moment, it's not rare. It's not bad luck. It's a silent pattern that happens to families around the world. And most of the time, it's not discovered until tragedy strikes. That's why we need to talk about it. Because what if the most peaceful part of the morning, the warm water, the steam, the quiet, was actually the most dangerous moment of the day for our seniors? Robert's story could be anyone's. A father, a husband, a neighbor, a grandfather, not careless, not weak, just unaware that the timing of his routine was putting him at risk. In this video, we're going to explore what makes morning showers so dangerous for older adults, and more importantly, how simple changes in timing, setup, and communication can save lives. You'll walk away knowing not just why these risks exist, but what you can do right now to protect someone you love. Because this isn't just about showers. It's about dignity. It's about safety. And it's about recognizing the small, everyday choices that can make a huge difference. Let me ask you something. Have you ever worried about a parent or grandparent living alone, especially when they're doing something as routine as bathing? Do you sometimes wonder if they're okay, even when they say they're just fine? If you've ever felt that quiet worry, you're not alone. And I invite you to leave a simple comment down below that says, "I care." Because that little message, those 2 words, might be the reminder someone else needs to check in on a loved one today. And if you want more real stories, more practical guidance, and heartfelt support on how to care for your aging loved ones, please consider subscribing to Elderly Wisdom Life. We're not just here to inform you, we're here to walk with you, step by step. It was just after 7:15 a.m. when Thomas, a 76-year-old widower, began his usual morning routine. He had always been an early riser, a former mechanic. His body was still tuned to the rhythm of starting the day before the sun. That Tuesday morning felt like any other, quiet, predictable. He moved slowly but confidently toward the bathroom. It was something he'd done hundreds of times before. His daughter was scheduled to call around 10, just to check in. But when she called, there was no answer. Hours passed. When the neighbor finally entered the house with a spare key, they found Thomas on the bathroom floor. The shower was still running. No screams, no signs of struggle, just a routine that went wrong in silence. Stories like Thomas's are not as rare as we'd like to think. And the cause, it's often not clumsiness or age alone. It's timing. You see, in the early morning, the body is still transitioning from rest to action. For older adults, this period comes with natural changes, blood pressure spikes, hormonal shifts, and slower cardiovascular adjustments. Now, combine that with warm water, which causes blood vessels to widen rapidly, and the result can be a sudden drop in blood pressure at a slippery surface. And one misstep can become catastrophic. And yet, we grow up believing that morning showers are energizing, refreshing, even necessary to start the day right. That may be true for younger people, but for seniors, especially those with heart conditions, high blood pressure, or balance issues, it can be dangerous. Families often don't realize this. They encourage routines that once worked decades ago, but the aging body doesn't operate the same way. What was once harmless can now become risky without anyone noticing. So what can we do? Start with a conversation. Ask your loved one to consider showering later in the morning after breakfast, after their meds have settled, and after their body has warmed up. Encourage them to wait if they feel lightheaded or tired. Remind them there's no shame in slowing down, and if you can, check in before and after. A short call can go a long way, because in the end, it's not just the act of showering, it's when it happens that makes all the difference. But the risks facing older adults during bathing aren't only about time of day. Sometimes, it's the bathroom itself, the very space that should feel safest that holds the greatest danger. Take Eleanor's story. Her bathroom looked perfectly fine. Spotless, tealess, bright lighting, everything in order. But on the morning she fell, it was the small, unnoticed details that turned it into a danger zone. No grab bar near the tub, no anti-slip flooring, just smooth porcelain and confidence built over decades of routine. She stepped in, just as she always had, but the shower floor, still damp from yesterday's rinse, offered no grip. The moment warm water hit her skin, her body tensed. The mix of heat, steam, and balance loss created the perfect storm. Her legs gave out. There was nothing to catch her but the hard tile. It's not just slipping that causes harm, it's the factors leading to the slip that people often ignore. When seniors step into a shower, two things happen almost instantly. One, moisture makes the floor dangerously slick, and two, sudden temperature changes can shock the body. Warm water feels good, yes, but for aging bodies, that heat can trigger muscle tightening, dizziness, or a sudden drop in blood pressure. Reflexes aren't as sharp, joints aren't as strong, and the window to respond, tiny. By the time they feel off balance, it's often too late. Many families assume the basics are enough. A rubber mat, perhaps installed years ago, but those mats curl, wear down, and lose traction. And most people don't realize that a cold bathroom paired with hot water can disorient even a healthy adult, let alone someone with heart issues or slow circulation. So what can you do? Prioritize stability. Install permanent grab bars, real ones anchored into the wall, not temporary suction cups. Replace old mats with textured, anti-slip flooring. Preheat the bathroom slightly before showering to avoid sudden shifts. And most importantly, don't let your loved one shower alone if they felt tired or dizzy that day. A quick check-in call before and after goes a long way. Because sometimes, it's not just the fall itself that does harm. It's the long, helpless silence that follows. We often think of hazards as something we can see: wet floors, sharp corners, slippery tiles, but sometimes the real danger is silent, invisible, and starts with something as small as a pill. Take Harold, a New Health-year-old farmer engineer. Every morning like clockwork, he wakes up, takes his blood pressure medication, brews a cup of coffee, and heads straight to the bathroom for a warm shower. It's a routine he's followed for years without issue. Until one day, it caught up with him. That morning, the combination of medication and steam proved too much. The drug had already started to lower his blood pressure exactly as prescribed, but stepping into a hot, humid shower accelerated the effect. His blood vessels expanded, his body relaxed too quickly, and the result was sudden dizziness. His knees gave way before he could even call for help. Harold was lucky. A neighbor happened to check in that morning and found him in time, but not everyone gets that second chance. What many people don't realize is that the timing of medication matters just as much as the medication itself. Common prescriptions for seniors, especially for blood pressure, heart conditions, or anxiety, can cause lightheadedness, drowsiness, or sharp drops in blood pressure. Pair that with heat, steam, and the effort of standing in a slippery space, and it becomes a dangerous combination. And the truth is, most older adults won't mention a moment of dizziness or a slight wave of nausea. They don't want to alarm anyone. They think it's just part of aging, but it's not. So, what can you do? Start with a conversation. Ask your loved one if they feel lightheaded after taking their meds. Speak with their doctor or pharmacist. Is it safer to wait an hour after taking medication before showering? Could switching the time of day make a difference? Sometimes, a small adjustment like bathing later or taking medication after the shower can prevent a fall. Encourage rest, encourage awareness, and most importantly, don't assume that routine means safe, because the very thing designed to help when taken at the wrong time can become the very thing that harms. Not all warnings come with loud symptoms. Sometimes, the body speaks softly through subtle signals like fatigue, but in older adults, even that quiet voice can mean something serious. Last Thursday, Alan, a 74-year-old retired postman, told his son, "I just feel a little off today." It wasn't dramatic. He still laughed, still asked about the grandkids, still insisted he was fine. His son didn't think much of it, just another tired day. But the next morning, Alan stepped into the shower and couldn't stay on his feet. His legs gave out midway through washing up, and he fell hard before he could react. No one heard. He was alone. Fatigue in seniors isn't always just about poor sleep or staying up late. It can be a signal, a red flag the body raises quietly. Maybe it's a sign of circulatory slowdown, maybe early dehydration. Sometimes, it's even the beginning of an infection that hasn't fully shown itself yet. And when someone already feels drained or weak, stepping into a hot, humid, slippery shower turns into a risky act instead of a refreshing one. Here's the tough part. Most of us family, caregivers, even the seniors themselves, shrug it off. "I'm just tired." And we nod, smile, move on. But here's the truth. Sudden or unusual fatigue shouldn't be ignored. It doesn't always mean emergency, but it always deserves attention. So what can we do? Make it a rule. If your loved one feels even slightly off that day, skip the shower, or at least don't do it alone. Suggest a sponge bath or a seated shower with a sturdy chair. Check in before and after. Just being within earshot might make all the difference. Because safety isn't about limiting independence. It's about respecting the signals the body sends, even when they whisper. Sometimes the greatest risk isn't a slippery floor or a sudden drop in blood pressure. It's something far less visible, the simple, quiet reality that no one else is around. Let's talk about Ruth. She was 82, a retired piano instructor who had lived alone for nearly 2 decades in her cozy suburban home in New Hampshire. Ruth was proud of her independence. She played music every morning, kept her garden blooming, and even hosted Sunday coffee for her book club. But one Thursday, everything changed. Around St. M., Ruth decided to take a quick shower. She hadn't eaten yet and had taken her morning medication not long before. She didn't think anything of it, it was just part of her routine. But when she stepped inside, she felt lightheaded. Her balance faltered, and there was no one there to catch her. Hours passed. The water kept running, and no one knew until a neighbor knocked, worried she hadn't shown up for their afternoon walk. It's easy to imagine this only happens in tragic stories. But the truth is, it happens far too often, and usually in silence. You see, isolation turns manageable accidents into life-altering emergencies. There's no one to hear the fall, no voice calling for help, no one checking in at just the right moment. And when it happens in the bathroom, a place already filled with risks, it becomes even more serious. More than 80% of falls in older adults happen at home, not in hospitals, not at the grocery store, but in their own bathrooms, surrounded by hard floors, narrow corners, and hot steam that can disorient the senses. Families often assume independence means safety. If she still cooks her meals, she must be okay. If he still walks every day, he's probably fine. But pride runs deep, especially in those who've spent a lifetime taking care of others. Most seniors won't say they're feeling unsteady. They don't want to be a burden. That's why we need to step in, not with fear, but with love and wisdom. Set up simple, smart protections, a fall detection device that works in wet environments, a call or text before and after bath time, a motion-sensitive light, a 10-minute check-in rule. These aren't restrictions. They're acts of care, because someone like Ruth, independent, lively, capable, deserves to stay that way. But she also deserved a safety net, one she didn't have, one you can build for someone you love. Starting today, it's unsettling, isn't it? The idea that a place as familiar and comforting as the bathroom, the space where we all begin and end our days, could hold such quiet danger for someone we love. That a routine shower, something so ordinary, could become the moment that changes everything. Not because anyone did anything wrong, but because no one realized how quickly risk can build in silence. We picture our aging parents or grandparents moving through their mornings just like they always have, waking up, taking their medications, Heading into the shower, we trust the routine. We hope it means safety, but routines can mask risk, especially when we aren't watching closely enough. And when the slip happens, when the legs give out, when the dizziness strikes, when there's no one there, it doesn't come with flashing warnings. Just silence. A silence that can stretch for hours, even longer, before help arrives. But this conversation is not meant to scare you. It's here to wake us up, not with fear, but with purpose. Because what we've uncovered together today is not about wrapping our loved ones in fear or stripping away their independence. It's about noticing. It's about acting. It's about love that takes the shape of preparation. With just a few small shifts, we can turn that risk into resilience. So here's what I'm asking you to do today. Not next week. Not when something bad happens. Today, pick up the phone, call your parent, your grandparent, your elderly neighbor. Ask about their morning routine, not with judgment, but with care. Ask them, when do they usually shower? Do they feel tired or dizzy in the mornings? Are there grab bars in the bathroom? Do they take medications just before stepping into the water? Have they ever felt unsteady but brushed it off? You'd be surprised how much can change with just that conversation. Then look at their environment. Walk through the bathroom like you're seeing it for the first time. Check the floors, the lighting, the water temperature settings. See it not through your eyes, but through theirs. Someone older, slower to react, perhaps reluctant to admit they need help. And remember, this isn't about taking control away from them. It's about giving them control over their safety. We're not replacing their independence, we're strengthening it with wisdom, with tools, with connection. Let's take a moment to go back over the key lessons we've learned today. Morning isn't always the safest time. The body is still adjusting after sleep. Blood pressure can be unstable. Medications may be just beginning to take effect. Delay that shower until the body is fully awake, hydrated, and steady. Slippery floors and temperature changes are more dangerous than they seem. A hot shower on a cool morning can disorient the body. A smooth tile with no traction can turn a moment of imbalance into a fall. Invest in real anti-slip materials, grab bars, and gradual water temperature control. Timing of medication matters. Some prescriptions lower blood pressure or cause drowsiness. Combined with heat and standing, they can spell disaster. Talk to a pharmacist or doctor about adjusting routines if needed. Fatigue is not just being tired. If your loved one says, "I'm just a little off today," listen, that might be the body's warning. If they wouldn't feel confident walking across a kitchen, they shouldn't be standing in a shower alone. Silence can be fatal. Living alone doesn't have to mean being alone in danger. Check-ins, waterproof fall detectors, even a quick call before and after a shower, they're not interruptions. They're lifelines. Now, I want to hear from you. Has any of this struck a chord with you? Did something here make you think of your own family? Maybe a moment you brushed off? A story you now see differently? Please share your thoughts in the comments. Whether it's a memory, a tip, or something you plan to change after today, your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to make a difference. And if this video gave you something valuable, understanding, clarity, or even just a moment of reflection, please consider subscribing to Elderly Wisdom Life. We're more than just a channel. We're a companion in this season of caregiving, reflection, and love. We're here to walk beside you with real stories, practical advice, and gentle reminders that you are not alone. Because protecting the ones who once protected us, that is one of the most meaningful things we can do. Thank you for being here. Your presence matters. Your action matters. Your heart, your awareness, your willingness to care, it might just save a life.